Hello gents, it is your boy Bucket Hat Sam and we are back again today for another video. Today I am going to be brutally ranking every single Premier League manager's season so far. Yes, we're going to be talking about every single manager, even the managers that have been sacked. So let's get straight into it, and please smash the like button and please do subscribe, because the goal is to get to 15,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's a bit ambitious, but I can only do it with your help, so please do it now this very second. It'd be much appreciated. Let's go. So we're going to start off straight away with Pep Guardiola. Now Pep Guardiola, I think we've got to go in poor. I wouldn't say get out. I don't think he's on that level, but I think poor, because we look at this kind of tier list. We've got unreal, good, expected, so kind of like okay, poor, and get out. I think kind of looking at this season as a whole, I know some people trying to find a positive spin on it at the moment. A lot of people are trying to say, oh, it's not too bad. But I think as a whole, when you look at it, really, it's a massive underperformance. Yes, I know the fact that they're in the top four race, they could still qualify for Champions League next year. But that's not good enough for this Pep Guardiola side. I think everyone's kind of gone, this season's a bit of a write-off, but I still think that's a poor thing. You shouldn't be writing off your season. If you're Pep Guardiola and you're this Manchester City side, if you're supposedly the greatest manager of all time, you can't just write seasons off like this. And the fact that they've kind of been crashing out of the majority of competitions as well, I think as a whole, it's not good enough. And yes, by the way, we'll add in kind of other competitions into this list. Okay, next we have got Mikel Arteta. Now, this is a weird one. Now, this is where I've been really and ahhing before I started recording this video. Where do I stand with Mikel Arteta? Where do I believe he should finish this season? Where do I believe he should do in the cups and things? So I'm going to say expected for now, because it's so as it stands right now. He has done as expected. He's in a title race. He's second in the league. He got quite far in the League Cup, but what I think he needs is a trophy, and that is what this Arsenal side are really crying out for. That's what I think they need, just to kind of keep it ticking along, because I think the pressure's really mounting on him with some of his decisions and things. But I think he's a great manager, but he's doing as expected, not above and beyond or anything like that. But that's where this Arsenal side is. I think that's kind of the way you've got to look at it and think, okay, Arsenal now have got to the point where they should always be competing. So he's doing an okay job. I think that's probably the perfect place for Mikel Arteta. Next, we've got Arne Slot. La 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 la. I need to stop doing that. Arne Slot for me is an unreal, because I think expectation-wise, no one really expected them to really be in the pole position for the Premier League. I think everyone kind of expecting them to have a bit of a write-off season after losing Jurgen Klopp. They've seen what happened when David Moyes kind of came in at Sir Alex Ferguson's era. That's what it felt like. That's what it looked like from the outsider. But he's come in and absolutely smashed it so far. So he's got to go in unreal. And I think a lot of people like to talk about the League Cup final, the Champions League and things, and look at those moments in isolation. But take or aside from that, they're doing absolutely incredible in the Premier League. They're currently 12 points clear with a game in hand. Who would have expected? That's an unreal job for me. Next, we have got Maresca. Now, Maresca is a really weird one. Now, if you look at their position on its own, it's a solid season. But where it doesn't sit right with me is their form in 2025. You think about how well this team started at the start of the year. They were looking like they were in pole position to be in a title race, and then they've just dropped off slowly and slowly and slowly, and everyone else has caught up with them. And that's why they find themselves in the middle of that like top four race kind of position. So I'm going to say expected. I don't think it's good as of yet, because really they should be in and around here. I think if you'd have done this video maybe 2 months ago, then it would have been good, or it would have been an unreal. But I think kind of now it's kind of dropped to the level that's expected, and it could go down to poor if they drop out of this top six. Because regardless of whether people like to say, oh my word, he's got loads of players, it's a good problem to have. The quality of players that he's got in this squad, it really is underperforming. They should be easily in that top four. Next, we have got Unai Emery. Now, Unai Emery, I'm going to go in unreal. You look at him as a whole, he's absolutely smashing it at the moment. So hear me out for Unai Emery in unreal. I feel like this one is a bit of a debatable one. I think probably good is also could be in the discussion. But how well they're doing in the Champions League, the fact they're still in there, they've kind of hit them, and Arsenal are waving that flag for English clubs in the Champions League. But not only that, they're still firing on all cylinders, because I think expectations, everyone said when they're in the Champions League, they'll drop off. They'll do what Newcastle have done. They'll do what Leicester did. They'll do what other sides have done. But he's building this absolute juggernaut of a team that are currently fighting on all cylinders in the FA Cup. Not only that, they're going at the Premier League. They're trying to get back into Europe, which is absolutely incredible. So I think they've definitely got to be in unreal. Another great season. They're really building for the future. Next, we've got Ange Postecoglou. Now, Ange Postecoglou, pour or get out. I feel like right now it should be in get out. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to go get out. You look at what they're doing, it's simply just not good enough. In the bottom half of the table with that squad, they had the excuse earlier on in the season of performances when they kept going injuries and things. When players come back, well, they've got their players back and they're still losing. They lost to Fulham and it was looks an absolutely embarrassment of a performance, and they're not doing great in other competitions. Yes, I know they're still in the Europa League and things, but they have to put all their eggs in that basket. And if he gets a Europa League win, then it goes into unreal because they've won a trophy. But I still don't think they will. And at the moment, I feel like his job is really on the line. I feel like he's really under severe amount of pressure. So I'm putting him in get out. I think he's doesn't get spoken about enough. He's kind of, for some reason, he's got this safety blanket where everyone talks about the great football that he's played for quite a long time now. But I've been waving the flag that this guy isn't good enough. I've been saying it for a while, and kind of his naivety and arrogance at points to refuse to change the style of play is really poor, in my opinion. I don't think it's right. So yeah, I think he needs to be spoken about a lot more. So I'm going to put him in get out, and maybe he might go up to poor, depending on the kind of manager we're going to be talking about next. Next, got Eddie Howe. So I'm going to whack Eddie Howe into unreal. Not only have they won their first competition since I think it was 1960 something, or 1950s off the top of my head. I think it was 70 years actually, so it would have been the 1950s. They're firing on all cylinders. They're going for the Premier League. Yes, they might be out the FA Cup, but they're playing really well, and it looks like they actually could sneak in for some Europa League football, even Conference League football, which is absolutely incredible. Yes, I know they get automatic qualification with the League Cup win, but I'm about actually in the league position, which is absolutely incredible. I'm going to go in unreal. What a job he's done, and the way he's transformed this team now over years is absolutely incredible. Next, we have got Erik ten Hag. I forgot this man existed. Get out. He's been sacked. Simply not good enough. But he's not the worst, so you'll see where we get to with the rest. Lopetegui. Now, Lopetegui, for me, will be at the bottom. There'll be no one below Lopetegui, because Lopetegui spent hundreds of millions, has got this kind of catalogue of great clubs abroad and things, and he comes with quite a groovy name that's got a lot of respect across Europe, but he absolutely failed. He did a huge flop at West Ham. It was absolutely embarrassing, the performances, and the fact that they were in a relegation battle. When you look at how poor the relegation sides are, it's simply not good enough. So he's going to get out, and I'm going to make sure he is at the bottom. Next, we've got Oliver Glasner. Oliver Glasner in good. I think he's doing pretty well. I think kind of everyone didn't really know what to expect from this Crystal Palace side after losing their talisman in Elise, but I think they're having a really good season. I think the fact that they're in and around mid-table, kind of in that position where you look at it and they're comfortably above the relegation, so they don't need to really look backwards, and they're kind of just trying to push towards the Europa Conference League spot. I don't think they'll make it, but I think overall it's a good season, slightly above expectations. So yeah, a very solid season. Next, we have got Herzler. Now, I think he's had an incredible season. I think it's very close to unreal, depending on how they do and whether they get that European football. Because I think, again, with a lot of expectations, with De Zerbi leaving and things, no one really knew what to expect from this side. And the thing is, they do this thing that we speak about quite often on this channel and on the podcast. If you haven't already, it's called Bucket Hat Sam Talks Ball Podcast. It's my podcast with me and my friends. Go check it out. 2 episodes every week. We spoke about quite often. They're a really weird side where you feel like they lose absolutely loads of games and they go on a ridiculous running streak. And next thing you know, they're 5th or 6th and things. They're having a really solid season. It's definitely above expectations because everyone saw the fact he's a young manager. You didn't really know where they were going to go from there. So I'm definitely going to whack him in good. Iraola, pretty much in the same. I'm going to whack him in good. Just behind, no, I'm going to put him just above Herzler, because I think they're doing an absolutely credible job. And if he gets European football after losing Solanke and some of the injuries they've had this season, it's an incredible job. Probably goes up to unreal for definite. So yeah, great. I speak about him all the time. I think he's a really good manager, and a lot of the big clubs should really be sniffing around to see what like kind of situation his contract's in, and maybe get him at their club, because he's an absolutely incredible manager and really nice system as well, which I really like. Yeah. Next, we have got Marco Silva. Now, Marco Silva in good as well. An incredible manager that we speak about quite often again on this channel. Somebody that goes massively under the radar. We speak about him quite often on this channel, with the fact that Fulham just go about their business every year, get into the top half of the table, and then kind of tail off towards the end of the season. But again, they've lost some big players in Palhinha and players like that, and we kind of thought, is it going to really work out? But they've just casually carried on as if nothing's happened this season, and kind of really pushed further and further on, again, trying to get into that European spot. But I really like the team that they've got going. I call it vibes football because they're a really nice attacking side. So yeah, definitely into good for them. Next, we've got Gary O'Neill, straight to get out. He got sacked, didn't do well enough. Next, we've got Sean Dyche, another manager that got sacked, simply not good enough, into get out. We're going to put these in at the bottom. I'm going to put Sean Dyche above Erik ten Hag, and I'll keep Gary O'Neill down there. Thomas Frank, we're going to go in expected. We've come to expect this from Brentford. I feel maybe it seems a little bit harsh, maybe putting him in expected, but I just don't think he's on the level of these managers currently to get into good. But maybe depending on how they finish at the end of the season, because I feel like with Brentford, they had a really good start to the season. It's kind of tailed off a little bit recently. So yeah, I've got a weird expectation with them, and I think maybe they could potentially push on. He could get into good, but not this very second. Next, we have got Nuno Espirito Santos. Now, straight away, we're going to whack him in unreal. He's doing an absolute absolutely incredible job with Nottingham Forest. The fact they're in the top four is absolutely mental. And the way they're playing, you can just tell they absolutely love him. They go to war, they fight for this manager, and that's great to see. And I really like watching them play. They've been giant killers really this season. They've been pretty much unstoppable, and every week where we think they're going to tail off, they just don't. They're absolutely incredible. So they are in unreal, definitely. Next, we've got Steve Cooper. Now, yes, I know he was sacked by Leicester, but I think on reflection and maybe looking back at it, it wasn't a great decision. Let's be honest. They weren't in the relegation zone when he got sacked. So I'm going to say mate, it's not good. Obviously, it's not good, but really, I don't think it's poor. No, I'd say top of poor then actually, because you can't get sacked and then say it was expectations. But I think maybe they might look at this and think it was a bit of a mistake getting rid of Steve Cooper, because I know the performances weren't there, but they weren't in the relegation zone. Next, we've got McKenna at Ipswich. Now, personally, I'm going to say get out. And I think people might think I'm being harsh and going, well, what's really it's expected and things. But I just think the performances just haven't been there. I think sometimes watching them this season, they've played quite naively. I think they remind me a little bit of Luton, where it's kind of they mean well, they play really nice, tough football, but they just can't get a result. And sometimes there's no conviction. And sometimes I watch them play like recently. You looked at the defending against Nottingham Forest, you just think that's just naive. That's management there. That he's got to sort that out. And the fact that they conceded so many goals so fast, somebody's got to look at it and go, maybe the defensive shape isn't right. Somebody's got to do something. That's why I'm going to put him in get out. Next, got Russell Martin, who also needs to come into get out. I'm going to put him just above Eric Ten Hag. Again, we speak about naive management, similar to Ange Postecoglou. The way he was playing football-wise, it was just not going to work. And the fact that he was had to stick by his decisions and things, I just look at it and just think, what on earth were you thinking? So he's definitely got to go and get out. Next, we've got Ruben Amorim. Now, this is a really weird one. I'm going to say poor, and people might say it's expectations, but it's Man United, and with that squad, it's not in expectations. They are performing still quite poorly, and he's quite close to get out, if I'm honest. I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt, giving him a little bit more time and things, but I look at it as a whole, I just think this Man United side is rotten, and I know what he's trying to do, and I just think maybe sometimes we speak, like we're talking about Ange Postecoglou, like we talk about Russell Martin. Is it naive, and is it arrogant to kind of stick to this system? Who knows? Next, we've got Graham Potter. I'm going to go into expected. He's turned around the ship quite quietly and done about his business, where no one really talking about the way West Ham have been playing recently. And I think next season we'll kind of really get to see and talk about the expectations for them. But I think overall, this season, since he's coming at West Ham, he's steadied the ship and he's done a pretty decent job. And I feel like he probably likes that, the fact that there aren't many people talking about what he's doing, and the fact that he's going to be really like putting his stamp on this side. And maybe by the time we get to next season, we'll really start seeing this free-flowing football that we kind of think of with Graham Potter. Next, we come in with David Moyes. David Moyes, for me, has got to go into good. He's done a great job, really, hasn't he, since he's come in at Everton. Really got them away from that relegation zone as if it was nothing. And he went on that massive unbeaten streak. So, yeah, I think he's a great manager. And I feel like he really suits Everton. And I always want him to do well, because I feel like a lot of people treat him quite harshly. Next, we have got the Wolverhampton Wanderers manager, who's come in and done a pretty decent job, let's be honest. I'm going to put him expected, because really, he's doing what we all expected this Wolverhampton Wanderers side should be doing. When you look at the squad, really, they were massively underperforming. He's come in and kind of just got them playing how they should be. So we're going to go in expected. By the way, that's not me rubbishing what he's done. He's done a good job, but he steadied the ship, which was needed. So that's why he's in similar position to Graham Potter. Got the team playing the way they should be. And I feel like with a manager like him and Graham Potter, maybe we'll look at them next season, then decide where to go from there. Next, the last two, both in get out. It's pretty easy. Ruud van Nistelrooy, to be honest, could easily go at the bottom. The way he's playing with this Leicester side, it is so naive. I'm going to whack him right there. And you look at it and you consider what Steve Cooper was doing and then what Ruud van Nistelrooy was doing. I just don't get it. I just don't understand what he's trying to do with this team. Sometimes you look at the defending, it's absolute kamikaze. It's not good enough, and more questions need to be asked, and it's just simply not good enough. And same with the Southampton manager. Again, you look at them both and you just think, what are you doing? They're just looking at them two. They're both just guaranteed the relegation zone. That's all they've done. But there you go. That is me ranking every single Premier League manager's season. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and like, comment, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, just go on. Just do it again. Just do it again. Don't unsubscribe, but just make sure you do it. But yeah, thank you for watching, and comment down below what you make of my tier list. Thank you, and I'll see you guys again for another upload very soon.